sheesh. Just started and they're already harassing me about stuff. Okay. Well, here's the story of the city of Trinity. It is right now the mid-19th century. A wild and luscious country has just been claimed by some settlers. Previously, there was nothing but a few, roaming natives who came through here, but other than that, no human presence. So, the humans look at this rich and fertile land and say, I want. Yes, I do. So, they decide to build the first paths through the land. Yes, indeed. So, they decide to build a road through here on their way west. Somehow these adventuring pioneers have learned the skills of building very modern-looking roads somehow. And also very modern-looking bridges. I don't know how they managed that, but they did. Actually, their horses get scared, so they're going to make a covered bridge. Alright. Yes, and they want to keep the road close to the water, because their horses need water, after all. You don't want your horses to be thirsty. Yes. And then they're like, well, we have to build a bridge across this bigger river, so let's make another covered bridge. But they want to build it high enough because they think that someday they'll build some ferries. I don't know how they know this, but they do. Alright. So they continue their adventuring pioneer trail throughout the land. Until they skirt around the edge of a hill. Going up that way, and leaving the town entirely. And that's the first trail the settlers took. And then, of course, settlers wanted to come from the south. So, they built another settler trail through these lands. Yes, avoiding the hills as much as they possibly could. The settlers build their trail on. And here they cross the other trail. But we'll pay attention to that later. Trail comes to the water because, of course, the horses are going to want their water too. So it goes right along the water until it goes off to the side. So, at the junction, a little shop springs up. And around the shop springs up some houses. And around those houses spring up more houses. And more houses. And more houses. And some more shops. And we're just going to call this Old Junction for now because I don't have too much in the way of creativity for names. Yes, but no one's moving in here yet. While be patient, my young friends. Yes, I know. Even the game's saying, get a move on here. But yes. Some other people decide to make little shops on the way and make a little village. Just a little village for the travelers as they come through. We're going to call this village Bobville, after Bob. I don't know. It's kind of lame, but who cares? But things really don't get moving until the railroads come to town. Yes, the railroads. The Transcontinental Railroad is being built here. Yes, as the workers toil away to build large stretches of tracks over this endless terrain. Yes, of course they're going to want to set up some stations on the way so that they can rest themselves and provide. And along this one station, a worker camp sprouts up. Because, hey, all these rail workers need to live somewhere, right? So, yes. They decided to build their little houses, their little barracks for all the workers, right along the rail tracks like such. And over here, they're going to want to build a little yard for their construction needs. And thus, the first railroad town is born. Very small for now, but it is there. What lame name can we think of for this town? Let's call it Saddleville. Why? No reason. Haven't I made that clear enough? Yeah, shut up. As the rail line goes on straight through, up to here that is, then they decided to jiggle it for some variety. But then they need to make a rail bridge all the way across the water. And they say, well, we're going to want to build ferries here, so we want it high enough. But that's kind of dumb, to be honest, so we're going to cancel that. And instead start it from over here. They're like, well, we still want our ferries, so let's build it higher. So there it is. And while they were building for the ferries, they're like, oh man, we need a town to supply ourselves with the goods. So, another railroad town was born. Yes, with industry leading off towards the water. And they're like, ooh, a nice pretty river. So they wanted to build a general store. And then they're like, yes, let's build a nice little town here. Something peaceful for the whole family. And all the aunts and uncles and everyone else who they want to have in there. Alright. But yes, this is the town that the pioneers founded. And we are going to call this town the very creative name of Riverside. Keep in mind, all these towns can and probably will be renamed in the future, so don't worry about lame names. And as the pioneers crossed the river, they passed this long-standing road, which isn't really long-standing at all, but they're like, yes, we should build another stop here. Maybe another town will arise. But for now, just a few shops. And a little bit of a workspace alongside here. And some houses. Oh boy, I got the hiccups in real life. What is this real life you speak about? We do not blaspheme on this channel. Oh man. But the railroad workers plow on, building their railroad out of sight. Thus the railroad town was born. And they wanted to make roads to connect the railroad towns to the main road that came down here. So they did. They built a road to Bobsville. And they're like, hey, we might need to trade with the other town. So they went and they built a street right along here. All the way along there. And that's how they did it. Then a prospector discovered coal over here. And they're like, coal? No way! We have coal here now. So, well, first thing they're going to need to do is build a road over to their mines that they have discovered. Random yellow circle of doom. Next thing they want to do is build a rail station to get the coal out of their mines. So they want to build the rail line all the way out to connect with the other lands. Yes, the coal must be sold with everybody. It's right around the lake here. That way the coal can be traded among everyone. But then they're like, we need places for our coal miners to live. So, large residential blocks were zoned for the coal miners. Yes, of course, they were going to want to build some industry here too. And more homes for the coal miners. Yes, there are a lot of coal miners that want to live here and mine the coal. So no reason we can't give them the opportunity. And of course, what's a good old frontier coal town without its share of taverns and other assorted businesses, which will sprout up on the outskirts. Whoops, that was kind of a fail. Alright. So, some of that is developed. But then a guy says, well, what's all this coal used for if we don't have a power plant? So some guy comes in and says, yes, we will build the power plant over here. And we will bring our coal to the people of all of this land. So then comes the process of connecting power lines to all these places. Yes, not a very hard feat, but you know, it requires a little bit of elbow grease. So now Old Junction has power. And they build their lines throughout the wilderness here. And Bobville needs power too, so we'll build some lines out to there. And of course, we have to build some lines out to Riverside and to whatever the name of this town will be. So, we're going to call this place, since I can't think of a name, we're going to call it Waterville, because it's by the water. Like I said, all these names can and will be changed. But still, oh yeah, we don't have any power to Saddleville yet. How sad. Let's get out our power lines. But these were just the first little towns that grew up in the middle of the wilderness. Can put the speed on. So in the mid-19th century, not too much happened in this land that will possibly one day become a city known as Epica. Yes. But nevertheless, the people decided to give their wonderful mayor a town. So, he decides to plop himself down right here in Riverside. Right on the edge of town. A very nice place for him to live, I should say. Let things speed along a bit before making the next move here.